In this video, I'm going to go for every single game's power armor, story, and unique variants. Keep things simple, we aren't going to cover every single bit of power armor. If it looks identical to another point in the game, for example, the Fallout 1's powered armor to any other T-51B power armor, I'm going to count it as the same suit. However, if there are slight differences, lore and visually, I'm going to count it as a separate suit. And I'm going to be counting unique variants of power armor as separate suits, like any Tesla or unique power armor parts. But I won't be counting any of the skins, just actual power armor and no creation clip. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what power armor actually does. First of all, every single suit of power armor is actually just armor mounted onto a power armor frame. The frame itself offers some protection, however the main thing that it contained was high flow hydraulic systems that would allow basic infantry units to carry heavy weapons, often seen on tanks or planes. These suits were powered by fusion cores, also known as a TX-28 microfusion pack, and on top of all of that, these suits completely got rid of fall damage, allowing users to fall from any height. However, these suits needed specialized training, at least in some games, and another thing is that often helmets would be equipped with a headlamp, and some suits could be modified to even fit jetpacks, and a whole assortment of other mods. So, let's get to the very first suit, the T-45. Created by Westtech in 2065 to counter the Chinese offensive during the Sino-American War, is the first suit of power armor to be created. However, the T-45 apparently had many flaws. First, it didn't allow much mobility for units operating the suit, and it also had a flaw in the welding.
Right below the chest plate.
Biggest reason why is because it was rushed to combat the Chinese invasion of Alaska. However, before the T-45, the United States were losing the Alaskan front. But even when the flawed T-45 appeared, it was a game changer for the army, allowing the war to reach some sort of stalemate.
We got power armor, bitch!
This suit is created using steel and is visually quite bulky, but overall, it's a good design. The first variant of the T-45 is the prototype medic power armor. Visually, it's identical to the T-45. However, when the user is injured, it would administer medics, and was planned for when it started production to administer stimpaks and other chems. However, it also speaks and says some quite mean things sometimes.
You take care of me, and I'll take care of you.
Next variant, the NCR Salvage Power Armor. It's a regular T-45 suit, but with its servo stripped apart so that anyone without power armor training can wear it. However, it essentially just turned power armor into armor, so no strength buffs for you. And because it's heavy, it slows you down as well. I don't know how they can carry several tons on their shoulders, but okay. Visually, it's a regular suit without the pauldrons bearing the mark of the bear on the chest. So, next suit. Fort Sierra Power Armor. This suit is a slightly green suit of the T-45, with its left shoulder pauldron being replaced by the head of a bear. It's slightly stronger than a regular T-45, however it provides a better fire resistance and gives a slight health regen effect when worn. However, it might have weaker motors and servo due to the fact that it only provides one more strength than the regular variant. Next variant. Asher's Power Armor. This suit is a heavily battered and rusted suit of power armor, with the left arm being completely replaced. It's worn by Asher in the Pit DLC and Fallout 3. Overall, the T-45 was the start of power armor, but even then, after centuries it was made, the suit is still being used in the wasteland by groups like the Brotherhood of Steel and maybe the occasional person or two. The T-45 is used by the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, and it was also used as the cover of Fallout 3. But in 2076, a new suit would appear which would revolutionize power armor from then on. The T-51. It entered service in 2076, however prototypes were seen in 2075 and allowed the United States to end the stalemate, and began winning the Sino-American War. This suit is used by the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout 1 and 76 and even the Enclave in Fallout 2. Visually, this suit is a lot more rounded compared to the more bulky looking T-45, likely to improve deflection. This suit is made out of a polylaminate material and not steel like the T-45, allowing it to be a lot lighter, and it is capable of absorbing 2,500 joules of kinetic energy, slightly above the capability of a 5.56 round, while rounds like the 308 and 50 BMG will not have issues piercing the suit. It also possesses a 10 micron ablative silver coating, which would help protect against the common laser and plasma weapons the battlefield would often use. However, one big issue with the suit was that it was just way too expensive to produce. But it is the best power armor used pre-war and was used as the cover for Fallout 1, 76, and Operation Anchorage DLCs. Next variant. Ardent Power Armor. Visually identical to the T-51, it's first seen in Fallout 1 and 2, however hasn't appeared since. It's a regular suit of T-51 that goes through some sort of chemical hardening process and is the only suit of power armor that can be hardened this way, luckily due to its nature of being made out of a polylaminate composite. Next variant. Winterized. The Winterized T-51 was adapted to the Alaskan conditions, and the suit has a snow-like camouflage paint job but it is slightly weaker durability-wise than the regular T51. Next variant, Ultrasight. The Ultrasight Power Armor is the first post-war suit of power armor produced by the Brotherhood of Steel in Appalachia. The suit was created with, Ultrasight. Visually, it has a darker blue color scheme with slightly more reinforced shoulders, gauntlets, and leg joints. It also sports 2 chest vents, which was likely added to fix a cooling issue these suits had. And doesn't have a complete visor splitting the lens into 2. Technically, it might count as a separate suit, however it's way too similar to the T51, so it's being shoved in this category. Next variant, Strangler Power Armor. Strangler Power Armor is a variant of a variant. It was left in Vault 94, but the Strangler Vines took over this suit. It's a heavily rusted and has many Strangler Vines over it. However, somehow it has the same resistances as Ultrasight Power Armor, but slightly higher rad resistance, and also adds acid damage to all armed attacks, making it better than Ultrasight Power Armor. Do I know how? I don't know. Nuka-Cola T51. This is actually a unique suit of power armor, not a paint scheme, and it gives the user a +3 agility when fully equipped and was a part of the Project Cobalt. So overall, the T51 is a great suit, however the cost to produce it was way too much. So that leads to the next suit, the T60. Created slightly after the Battle of Anchorage, months before the Great War.
Oh, come on!
It was often used in the mainland to quell riots and protests, however it had many of the same issues as the T45. Even though it had slightly improved mobility and resistances, it apparently had a flaw in the welding that they inherited from the T45, which could kill the user if shot. Did they shove this out of their ass to make the ghoul cooler? Likely, but it's canon now. It's also used extensively by the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout 4 and a bit in 76. I'm going to be speedrunning the next Power Armor unique pieces now, so here we go. Exemplar T60. It is a unique T60 torso, which gives the user a 10% reduction in AP cost and VAT, and also has a 2-point increase in resistances. This piece of armor is given by Clark by completing the Duty or Dishonor quest. Honor. Funnily enough, the next piece is called Honor. Honor is a unique left leg piece which boosts AP regen a little bit and has a slightly stronger resistances compared to the regular T60 piece, again by 2. It can be bought by Proctor Regan on the Pridwin. Vengeance. It's the right leg of the T60, essentially the twin of Honor. It has the Punish legendary fig and has a 2-point increase in resistances, also can be bought by Proctor Regan on the Pridwin. Visionary's T60 helmet. This helmet has a unique effect that increases the user's action point refresh and has another 2 points in increase in resistances. It's given to you by Lancer Captain Kells for completing the quest A Loose End. Tesla T60. Visually, it's similar to the regular T60, however it has Tesla coils on the arms and has a Tesla generator on its back. It gives the user a slight increase in energy weapons, and it can be obtained by killing Ivy in the quest Headhunting in Fort Hagenhager. Say that shit 10 times fast. So overall, the T60 Power Armor is just a direct upgrade to the T45, and it's used as the cover art for Fallout 4. However, during the pre-war era, there was a suit being developed, however it could never be completed due to the bombs falling. That one being the XO1. Personally, my favorite suit. This suit is a pre-war design, however most suits were created post-war primarily by the Enclave and select few suits by the Institute and Brotherhood of Steel. This suit pre-war had many flaws, so that's why it was never created pre-war. Visually, it is by far one of the most unique looking suits with a sci-fi design and a carapace-like shoulder rather than having regular pauldrons like many other suits. The helmet has 2 filters and doesn't have hoses on each side, although it does have one main hose on the left side of the helmet. The XO1 is also made of a polylaminate material, however likely one superior to the T51B, as this suit by far outclasses the other suits and is only beaten by a few other suits. Next variant. Quantum. It's a regular XO1 suit painted in the irradiated drink flavor known as Quantum. It has a unique effect on the user in which it boosts AP regen and was a part of a project known as Project Cobalt. As this suit isn't a regular XO1 suit, it's actually an enhanced suit of XO1. Using a material known as Quantum, a radioactive isotope to enhance it, they likely put that same isotope in the Quantum drink as well because that thing is also goddamn irradiated. Prototype XO1. Technically, the name is a paint scheme, however in Fallout 76, the XO1 is actually weaker than the T51, because the XO1 was not completed yet. In terms of ballistics, it's worse, energy, it's around equal, and radiation, it's better. And lore-wise, it makes sense, because at this point, the suit wouldn't have been completed yet, and it would have likely used the same materials as the T51. However, let's talk about what happens when you give a Chem Junkie a Power Armor frame. Raider Power Armor. It's by far the weakest suit of power armor in every game, as it's just a bunch of scrap metal welded to the frame, and visually, it's just a rusty piece of fucking shit. However, it might use some parts of other power armor, like the torso is similar in shape to that of the T-45, and the pauldrons might be T-51B. It also has a wire mesh on it to protect it from explosives or shrapnel like real-life tanks might have. Also, the legs and helmets and arms are just simply made out of scrap metal, and that's pretty much it. Overboss Power Armor. Worn by Overboss Coulter, it's a regular suit of Raider power armor with even more mesh around it. However, the shoulders are reinforced with more scrap metal, and the helmet kinda looks like one of those Russian titanium helmets, and it can also draw energy to make the suit invincible, until a motherfucker with a squirt gun fries the dude inside of it. And honestly, I'm surprised that these dudes don't get tetanus being in those. Vessus Fist. It is a unique right arm of Raider power armor, and its only effect is that it improves damage resistance and has a 4x durability. However, it looks identical to the regular Raider power armor arm, so yeah. But now we are at the fun part. Enclave Power Armors. Advanced Power Armor. It is actually based off the X01 schematics, however visually and in lore, it's a completely different suit. It's hard to say how it looks visually as it's only seen in Fallout 2. However, using this scene in which they brutally murder a bunch of vault dwellers, it has a grey camo paint scheme and has orange lenses. And has a similar rounded carapace like that of the X01, and also has a similar mask to that of the X01. This suit was being researched in 2198 and was not finished until 2215, and their first production model was actually created in 2220, according to the Fallout Bible. Instead of using the polylaminate material that likely the X01 and T51 used, it uses a steel/lightweight ceramic composite. Next suit. Enclave Power Armor, also known as the APA MK2. This suit is actually a 3D version of the APA MK2, however it's visually completely different. This suit is worn by Enclave soldiers, and it is also known as the Black Devil Power Armor due to its pointed like horns on the helmet. It has a shoulder design like that of the T-Series Power Armor, and has a bulkier design than the APA's sleeker design. Next suit. Enclave Tesla Armor. It's a regular suit of Enclave Power Armor, just heavily rusted and beaten up, and it also has coils all around the suit, primarily on the shoulders and legs, while the torso seems to be untouched. The helmet is the exact same, however it does have more of a rounded shoulder design akin to the T-51, and it boosts the user's energy weapons, likely by jamming more energy into said weapons via the coils. Next suit. Remnant's Power Armor. This is the Advanced Power Armor Mark 1, however this suit is a heavily beaten, worn, and slightly rusted suit of the regular APA, given the fact that it's been 40 years since the suit was created. This version of the suit is given to you during the quest for Old Link Sign, and it is just a regular APA turned in 3D, however instead of a grey camo paint scheme, it's just black. Next suit. Ganon Family Tesla Armor. This is a modified suit of Advanced Power Armor. It has blue coils around the shoulders and wires across the suit, and has Tesla coils on the arms and legs, and appears to be a bit more beaten up, and has two prominent yellow coils on the helmet. It's 100% a custom suit of power armor, either modified by Arcade or his father, as no other Tesla Advanced Power Armors are ever seen except for this one. Next suit. Hellfire. The Hellfire suit is the pinnacle of power armor, the strongest, most durable suit in all of Fallout. It was finished and produced in 2277, after they failed to get Project Purity. It provides heavy fire resistance, because people given the suit often used heavy incendiary weapons. Although in the game, it's similar to that of the T-51B in terms of stats, however that's likely because it's a gameplay aspect rather than actual lore, because how can the Enclave not produce something better than a pre-war design? Vulkan Power Armor. It's another Enclave Power Armor, however it looks like the Equalizer Power Armor Atomic Shop skin painted black and given Enclave insignia, and the suit is covered in ultracite. It's a modified X01 suit, and honestly, I love this look, and it kinda reminds me of a certain Primarch. Excavator, also known as the EX717. Excavator was created by Gerhan Mining Co., and it was designed to protect miners from rockfalls and airborne contaminants.
Boulder! Oh, fuck! I did not expect that to happen! Oh my god, his brother, wife, and children are here! Oh my god, you just killed their fucking dad! How fucking dare you!
And was created with the region's unique material, black titanium. It is by far one of the more weaker suits of power armor because it wasn't really meant for combat, more for mining and carrying heavy loads, so it gives a 4x mining bonus and 100 plus carry weight in the games. Only around 5 suits of Excavator were created, but not anymore because auto miners were far more preferred than human workers in power armor. The T-65. It is an immensely bulky suit of power armor used by the Secret Service in Fallout 76. It obviously has the highest physical resistance in all of Fallout 76. I mean, look at the damn thing! But we don't have the exact date on when this suit was created, however it is likely pre-war and only designed for the Secret Service, only seen in Fallout 76. Hellcat Power Armor. This suit was used only by the Hellcat company, who likely used to be members of the military, as they seem to follow a very strict military structure, and visually, this suit kinda looks like a modified X1, especially with its carapace-like shoulders, and the helmet is unlike any other. It might be using a modified T-51B helmet, as its lens is one piece, however it does kinda look like the Terminators from 40k. It also has a unique effect in which, when all pieces are equipped, it would give the user a 12% decrease in all ballistic damage. Union Power Armor. Union Power Armor honestly looks like if you gave firefighters a unique suit of power armor, and it's a rectangular pauldron and by far one of the most unique looking suits ever. It also gives the user increased carry weight and poison resistance, indicating that it has advanced filters given the fact that it has 2 on the helmet, but the visor kinda looks sus. Midwestern Power Armor. By far the coolest looking power armor, with the Frank Horgan hoses in the back and the spiked horns. For crying out loud, it has a cape and chains, and it looks like the goddamn Predator. Its helmet looks like that of the Enclave power armor from Free. It has bulky legs except at the joints, and it either has a rough design or a very rounded design. And the Advanced Power Armor's helmet just literally looks like an alien. Actually, personally, this is the coolest power armor design, and I mean, damn! Looks like it would drop kick you and make you pay to watch it. Frank Horrigan's Power Armor. This suit of power armor cannot be worn by regular humans, only the mutant behemoth like the one called Frank Horrigan. It's a 12-foot tall suit powered by a fusion reactor, and it pumps the behemoth inside with chems and provides life support. On top of that, Frank Horrigan's helmet also has a bionic eye. It is equipped with a hardened composite blade and a prototype plasma cannon. I'm surprised that the Chosen One beat him, but that's all. There's nothing more. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe and hit the notifications. Yep, generic YouTuber cliche. And if you have any video ideas, please leave them down below. So, yeah, bye everyone.